7 News on top of breaking news at 10. This is just one piece of heavy equipment called in tonight to help fight the Hewlett Fire. In the last 24 hours, the blaze has grown 7 times in size. Right now, the fire's burned 7,300 acres, and after 4 days of fighting, it is still only 5% contained. Nearly 400 fire personnel are battling the rough terrain and weather conditions to fight this fire.
We've created this map to give you a better idea of the terrain and where the fire is. It's less than 20 miles outside Fort Collins along Highway 14, and the fire is burning in the canyon. New tonight, some evacuations are now lifted. The area in orange shows the burn area. The evacuations which have been lifted are in green, and in yellow, you'll find the area where the evacuations are still in place. More than a dozen homes along Highway 14. Tonight we have team coverage. Meteorologist Mike Nelson tracking weather conditions, and Lance Hernandez asking how firefighters plan to attack the fire tomorrow.
And we start with Jaclyn Allen live in LaPorte. And Jaclyn, those in the line of the fire finally had the chance to get some answers tonight.
Well, all the bigwigs battling this fire came here tonight to answer evacuees' questions. People wanted to know, is my house safe? What are you doing to fight this fire? And when will I be able to go home? In the back of his pickup,
it's hard to take your 30 years of your life in 5 minutes.
Tim Lohnert has packed up his life.
Sheriff came, knocked on the door, said, "You got to get out now."
This is what the flames looked like near his home today. As firefighters started back burns in the Poudre Canyon, they weren't taking any chances.
We have fire all the way down, and it's burned out to the North Fork of the Poudre.
In a community briefing tonight, nervous neighbors want the latest word from the fire lines.
But we've been watching smoke, and then when the flames came over the hill, it started coming down rapidly.
Nicole Kaplan lives in the middle of the new evacuation zone and watched firefighters in action as she left.
You could see a line of firefighters that they sort of lined up like soldiers with you could tell they had a plan. They had an order.
Fire crews burning off dry brush and fuel, working hard to stop the fire from jumping Highway 14.
If it did go up, it would be, well, what we're calling a whole different ball game.
And while evacuees want to know when they'll be allowed back, they remember the lessons learned from the last Colorado wildfire.
I would never left, but, after those people dying makes a whole different outlook on life.
He's talking about the 3 people who died in the lower North Fork fire there. In the meeting tonight, firefighters admitted what they called a major miscommunication, forcing more people to evacuate in the Poudre Canyon area than actually needed to. But neighbors I talked to say they would rather have that kind of mistake than the late evacuations we saw just 2 months ago. Reporting live in LaPorte, Jaclyn Allen, 7 News.
There are already 391 people working to put this fire out. The Forest Service requesting more firefighters for tomorrow. They're also ordering 2 heavy air tankers and 2 helicopters. That air support is key because of the limited roads in this very difficult terrain. Another resource for them, heavy equipment, which they plan to use tomorrow. 7 News reporter Lance Hernandez checking into those resources. And Lance, we're talking about bulldozers.
And one of those bulldozers, with about a 4 to 5 foot blade, we can go down there, scarify the land somewhat, and remove those lighter fuels.
Now that the Hewlett Fire is spreading from rough, rugged brush-filled terrain and into a flatter, grassier area, fire crews can take advantage of mechanized equipment. One of those dozers just came in tonight. It's fueling up here at Ted's place.
We can then maybe put some of that bare earth, and the wider the better in this case, where those grasses and brush come together.
That's great news for Earl Page, who lives on the west side of the fire.
We've been through hurricanes, typhoons, twisters, you name it. And so I'm not terribly excited, but when I saw the fire crest on that hill, then I started to say, okay, you're right, it's time to pack up.
Page says that once the bulldozers cut a line between his house and the fire, fire crews will set a backfire.
It could get a little interesting for a while, but I don't think it's going to be a problem for us.
Now, the fire is still active, but the winds have calmed down quite a bit this evening, and for the first time in a number of days, there's not much of a glow being seen from Highway 287 here at Ted's place. Live in Larimer County, Lance Hernandez, 7 News.